so far now.
How many do we need for a forum? Four right now.
We got a couple of minutes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's 7.
Same 9 names.
Yeah, I don't know if we lost a couple based on terms, like Amy.
That's the only person,
That's the only person.
but I sent out that email and she just has to reapply. You have it?
The wonderful roster, yes, it's a wonderful.
Oh, okay. Oh, but yeah, all Amy has to do is I sent her the link. She just needs to fill it out. I also told Tara as well, so she was looking for it. So,
So we don't have.
They're just not, well, they're more name temps. So we're
Oh, okay. It's like Josh's,
Yeah, I think the people who've been mostly coming in online, the temps are there on the counter.
Yeah, so name tents that are on the counter are the people that tend to be online.
correct. They tend to be online.
Some with a name temp on the counter.
And that's why. I don't think he might have come in once, maybe, Josh, but most of the time he's online.
Yeah, I think Josh has come one time since we went back to meeting down here.
Mhm.
Okay, a few times we were meeting up at the Clifford building, like we were county commissioners.
I thought we weren't sitting in the big seats.
We did do that one time.
Oh.
We did. Talk about Mark Markopoulos. And that's a friend of mine's festival. He's been going to it for 30 years.
Okay, so one online,
He was at,
we have 2.
Festival out in Black Mountain. The, the way in.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, y'all.
Hey,
There's John. Hi.
all right. Yay. All right. There. Hello. Did I start recording?
Yeah, looks like it started.
Yes. All right. Let's see.
All right, 7 people gives us a quorum. So I'll call us to order at 6:31. Appreciate everyone being here. Item of business is consideration of any additions or changes to the agenda. And I in fact had one, which was to approve the June minutes. We come to the minutes section momentarily. Next is public comments. It seems like we actually here. Do you have any, you want to make any comments? Okay. All right, that brings minutes. We have 2 in your board. You will find the minutes from our last meeting in October. And on your table, you will see the minutes from the June meeting that we've been trying to, Harleen worked on that this afternoon and got it together. So I appreciate the work she did on that. She's made a couple of corrections that she can put up on screen. And I think it is ready for us to vote with those 2 corrections up there, which were to get the year right, I believe it was, and that I moved for the adjournment. Be very happy to entertain a motion to approve. Approve. No, I just talking about June.
Just one other minor change right at the end. Oh, actually, you better on, the next meeting scheduled says June 10th. That would have to be, the next meeting, July or August.
Either August, July. Oh, we just. No, we didn't. Either August, meeting.
It probably wasn't 2024.
Well, it wasn't. You can get clever and go back and forth in time. Back to do.
And actually, you know what, at the top of the agenda, it actually says 2023, so we probably need to.
Well, I already changed
Oh, yeah,
that
that-
screen. Yes,
All right,
that's what he talked about.
so I'll make a motion to approve with the changes that we see on the screen.
Thanks, Greg. Second, Roy. Yes.
Who was the second?
Second was Roy. Greg moved, Roy seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Heidi abstained. Okay, motion carried. That brings us to last month's minutes. Jamie, which are in your board packet. Anything I saw was the next meeting listed was not this meeting, but the one for next month instead of November 17th.
There were also a couple that were missing in these seconds. I don't know if anybody recalls.
Yeah, I have question there because I didn't know who it was, so I put a question mark. I couldn't make it out when I went back to listen to the recording.
I have no idea.
Be more mindful of people's names out. Do we have any further discussion, any other changes or recommendations to October 20 minutes? Not, I'm looking for a motion to approve as amended. I move, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Jane.
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question before we vote?
Oh, no, go ahead, but it's.
Okay, Heidi moved, Jamie seconded to approve the minutes of October 20th as revised to change the next meeting date to November 17th, 2025. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Very good, motion carries.
Art, did y'all see the June thing here?
Yeah,
Did y'all just do that?
yeah.
Was present at that meeting. My name is not.
Okay.
I have my minutes from it in my hand.
I did.
That brings us,
So,
oh yeah, Heidi, question.
question about what we did last month. So I'm wondering where the orientation and the transportation documents live. We don't know where they are. Because we made some corrections, but I don't know how to check them because I have no idea where they are right now. And then another question I had, which was in one of them, it said that, I think it said the minutes were posted online or something, and I asked last month where they're being posted, because I have no idea where to find our approved minutes. If there's a link we can find to get to those as well.
I'll send you out a link again. It's in the newsletter.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed that.
Congratulations, y'all, on getting the newsletter format in operation last Monday. There's steps forward. Having a roster and the dates correct is such a wonderful thing, and been missing for 5 years. Our main work tonight is to review the Orange County bicycle and pedestrian plan. So I'm going to turn it over to staff to walk us through that.
Yeah. So I will just introduce this briefly. We've been working on the bike and pedestrian plan for how long now? About a year, last November. And we have been working with a consultant and with the Triangle West PPO on this project. And so we have representatives from the consulting agency and the MPO here tonight. And Jonna Burkett is from Stantec, and she'll be doing most of this presentation. And then Madeline Galliano is here from the MPO, and she's sitting over there and will answer questions as needed as well. So I'll turn it over to these ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks. I'm Jonna. The last time I was on Stantec would have been last November when this project initially kicked off. Had a couple turnover since then, and I have been involved in projects since the beginning and have a little bit of a local tie. I'm just a few miles west of Orange County border in Alamance County, so I know your roads. I'm over here pretty frequently and feel like a personal connection to this project specifically. So while our office is in Raleigh, I spend more time over here in this area than I do over there. So thanks for having me, and we can have a good conversation today about the work we've done over the past year. So main purpose of this plan is to formalize a cohesive and actionable strategy for multimodal design in the unincorporated areas of Orange County. You go ahead and go to the next. So kicked off, like I said, last year, where you heard where we were going in the listening phase of the project. And now we're towards the end, we're documenting, we've have some draft recommendations, draft implementation plan, and that's really what we're here to just go over what we've done the past year and talk about, have a discussion with you about the recommendations and implementation moving forward. So we're really close to the end of this project. And so at the beginning of the process, found 3 goals. 1, make walking and biking safer in Orange County. 2, build a more connected network. And 3, improve access for everyone. We did have done a lot of engagement opportunities and touch points throughout the process. We've reached over 600 residents across 9 different engagement. We had a project website. We did an interactive online map. Had an online survey. We had 2 pop-ups, or sorry, 1 pop-up, public workshop in Carborough. We did held 4 stakeholder listening sessions, an additional one with NCDOT. And then just this past September, a public workshop in Chapel Hill. Existing conditions, we did a big deep dive into existing conditions and a lot of data analysis, and found some key takeaways, including travel patterns are already multimodal. People are already biking and walking all across Orange County, even where there aren't facilities. And the roads serve many types of trips, whether it's recreation or to get to specific destinations such as schools, grocery stores, parks, libraries, or just, like I said, for recreation. And safety risks are real and preventable. Any questions so far? They're the key things that we heard out of those engagement events. Safety is the biggest thing that was noted across all platforms in person and online, and survey safety wasn't being mentioned over and over and over again. Infrastructure is limited and disconnected. There's a lot of gaps. I think we talked about the sidewalk gap where the sidewalk just abruptly ends. Small improvements can make a big impact. Regional thinking is important. We heard a lot about the connection between Chapel Hill, Carborough, and up to Hillsborough was a big thing that's missing. Wanted to getting to Mebane and to getting around the region, not just within the smaller areas and cities. And driver behavior and speed are major concerns. We had several pretty good conversations in person about driver behavior and just the impact that has on the safety and how everyone feels walking and biking out in the county where the speeds are fast, and the roads are not safe. So as we get into the network recommendations and the approach, we started with a lot of data. We took what was developed from the transportation multimodal plan that was done in 2024. We looked at use volumes, land use, other past plan that's been done. And we took those and we refined facility types. First, we moved greenway and trail projects. And then we upgraded or downgraded facilities based on data, design guidance, stakeholder and public input. And that's how we came up with the final draft of the bicycle pedestrian network that you guys will get to see in just a moment. So here is the proposed bicycle network. There's 215 miles of paved shoulder recommendations across the county, 50 miles of bike lanes, and then there's one bike ped bridge. Okay, here's using a list that breaks it down into the spreadsheet. That was included, but we can make sure you all get that as well.
A list that tells you what the roads are.
Yes.
We can't, is there a way to get that map with roads labeled on it?
Yeah,
That'd be
that's really
really
helpful, but
Yeah,
And
then
it's
the
that's-
spreadsheet would be good for us.
If that's online in a way that we can zoom in, that'd be correct. Yeah.
and then sidewalk, 23.2 miles of sidewalk, 62.9 miles of shared use path. And then we took 10 projects, concept designs for 10 projects. 8 of them were from the top 20 projects that came out of the prioritization criteria that we went through along with the prioritization working group. And 2 of the projects, ones that we heard specifically that came out of engagement that were highly recommended by a lot of folks. Engagement.
There's more than this list, right?
Yeah, so these were just the 10, basically the 10 that we that development. So we did 10% into 10 projects.
Explain something you said a few slides back about you removed the greenway.
Yes, the greenway and trails, I don't know if you guys have heard from the greenway and trails folks. They're doing a separate greenways and trails plan. So we are just focusing on the bike ped network that's on the road. And the road right of way, and the greenway and trail plan is separate, and that'll be outside the NCDOT.
Did you coordinate or compare notes at all?
And isn't the year of the trail, I mean, isn't the Great Trail State, isn't that part of DOT?
It is, but it's outside of the NCDOT's right of way, so it's a little bit different. And the bike ped, a lot of that's through the transportation planning group, and then the trails plan is Parks and Rec. So it's a little bit, there's different funding mechanisms and just way to get things in and maintained too is a big piece.
So once the 2 plans are complete, will they be able to be like positioned on algorithm so we can see how they act?
So what we're doing is we're actually doing them in parallel processes. So we're at a similar point in this plan as to what the trails plan is with the deeper and their board. So they're going through and prioritizing things and looking at things and all specific to trails. And then we're going to be presenting to commissioners together, so they'll be able to see both parts at the same time. So one right after, right, right. They'll be getting those together, and they'll be getting a session similar to this for feedback for both of those projects. They'll be able to look at them together.
Digging in too deep, so pull me back if I go too deep. One area I was thinking about was like where Duke Forest is on Whitfield Road. So Duke Forest, I think that would be private, because that's the university, I think, that owns that. So there are a lot of people that not only are going to the forest, that there's no sidewalks or anything. The secondary thing that I don't know if anybody thought about, because it's fairly recent, is the new entrance to 40. Actually increasing the traffic down Sunrise to Whitfield, so I've actually drive that way. I've noticed a lot more people on bicycles, and there's like no room, there's no shoulder, and
That's North Chapel Hill.
that's the unincorporated part of it, yeah. And the Duke Forest is kind of like right.
It's just north of 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whitfield.
Yeah. Right.
My farm was just.
So I think it kind of crosses and might go into the incorporated part, but a fair amount of like Duke Forest is unincorporated. And the same with Sunrise and Whitfield, but that traffic picking up with like it's being built. Like maniacs there. And there's no shoulder, it's like literally everybody's all over the road when they're driving there, so part of this, or that would be something we should look at.
Can I make a comment, follow-up comment? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like to put on on the, just not table for now, but have this discussion about traffic and safety and speed. Because there is an allusion to that earlier in the plan, and I drive a lot on the old 86 and 86 and 70, and I think particularly on old 86, I'm kind of interested in what you're proposing there, because the right-of-way is so narrow right now. I was trying to look, I looked on the thing that you gave us that said concept designs, old NC 86. Can you pull that one up? It's like it's the next page from what I'm seeing on your, yeah, there. And can you kind of walk us through this just a little bit about what would happen or what is envisioned in these concepts?
So old NC 86 was one of those that didn't make it into the top 20 party projects out of prioritization of the prioritization working group, but was a particular interest because of stakeholder and public input as being the direct connection between Chapel Hill, Hillsborough, and Carr Road. So having a degree of separation was important because of, like you said, speed, driver behavior, being a dangerous road with curves and hill line of sight. So we felt it would be best to have a higher level of separation and with a 10-foot shared use path that would accommodate both bicyclists and pedestrians to be able to walk and bike safely outside, away, separated from traffic. So you can see the 10-foot shared use path that would be outside of the road right of way with a buffer.
I got a question. So on that drawing for Orange, you've got paved shoulder and arrow, whatever they're called, with a bike on. So is it more like a bike lane, or are you riding on the shoulder kind of?
That would be a bike lane. That would be a 5-foot bike lane. Typically paved shoulders are 4 foot or less. So this would be that would be on US 70 Holt. That would be a 5-foot bike lane. with markings, so it would have the markings, it wouldn't just be just a line, on the road.
Is that the one you were asking about?
Yeah, but you said bike lanes are usually 5 feet.
Yeah, that's.
It's 4 feet
Yeah,
on the
the,
drawing.
the
so-
drawing base is 4 feet.
The Orange High School Road says 4 feet, but the
Yeah.
US 70 all,
So Orange High
It's a
School
different
Road is a
project.
4-foot paved shoulder, with the shared lane markings. And that was just a short paved shoulder with a sidewalk, but the US 70 all has the 5-foot bike lanes.
It is, just a quick fill-out question. Is there in this report, I know we have the summary. We have just kind of the overview presentation, but is there somewhere in here some more detail on the incidents that have occurred in these areas and either with pedestrians or bicyclists? Is that available? Is that in here somewhere to kind of back up some of these recommendations?
It's not in here, but we do have, we did look at safety and crash locations, and the TPO has a full Vision Zero safety action plan for their portions of Orange County, which is not all of Orange County, but I think it would include these areas that are of interest. That is, takes a deeper dive that we did look into that plan as well. In correlation with looking into just general safety, public safety, and CDOT data that looks at bike head crashes. So I can provide that map after as well, if that would be useful for you all.
So just that kind of related to that, and maybe I just missed it in the beginning, are there are there specific criteria that came from the outcomes that would make that led to these specific recommendations? I know you talked about the goals, but were there in other words, were there specific criteria that you used?
Yes, so I'm actually on the Complete Streets Review team for NCDOT for Integrated Mobility Division. And so that's part of my job, is to look at projects that are advancing in project development and make sure that they are in compliance with the NCDOT's Complete Streets policy and Bucks County, Macon County. A lot of these county roads, the majority of these county roads, basically all of them, are owned and operated by NCDOT. So what they're going to build out there on the road right away needs to be compliant with their existing policies. So we did look at all of their guidance, which looks at an activity estimation map, which is a demand thing, a demand tool they have online. So you can see which areas are high demand. So the areas like in Chapel Hill and in towns are going to be high, and then as you get to the outskirts, it'll medium and then get lower, and then some. I don't think there's any intermittent in Orange County. I think it's all low. And you have a higher population of people who are out riding and walking in this county, and then looks at speeds, volumes, crashes, current plans. So we looked at all things, and they have set recommendations that they would build out there. They have the high, I don't know can't think off the top of my head what they call it, but they're high option and they're lower option. So they provide both of those. And I believe we went with the high option on all of these instead of going with the lower.
Thank you.
I can send some of those resources too. I think, I'm a transportation nerd, but I think especially the demand, online viewer is fun to look at just to see what areas are in. The NCDOT does have a lot of good online resources to use. It's AADT crashes. They have crash online viewers as well that anybody can go on and look at if you guys are all interested. That may be useful just going forward and other projects and things as you do more.
Is the bike head crash tool still in existence? So who's maintaining it? How often is it updated?
It's updated pretty frequently.
It might even be monthly, it's very frequent.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
curious,
think sorry.
I'm curious, how do you decide to go with a 10-foot shared use path as opposed to 2 5-foot bike lanes that are each on one side of the road?
So the bike lane, that we have here is, would be considered a little mistake because it's not separated from traffic. The shared use path has a higher degree of separation. That's gonna be the facility that an everyday user, a cautious user, family, an everyday user who would just not feel as comfortable driving with traffic. The, shared use path is the highest degree. That's gonna be the safest, best option for just an everyday user as opposed to,
So I guess the question is, why would you choose not to do that? Because it's right away, or would it be because of something?
like, cost is a big one, but then also just the speed, volumes and things like that, that all goes into what would be recommended. So, I think US 70 alt in this particular spot has, I think, a lower speed limit and, lower volume maybe, or a couple of different criteria that made it a better candidate for, a little bit less separation than, let's say, NC86, all NC86.
So this stretch of US 70 alt is right past DMV where they were looking at, is where the example is.
Just clarification, when you're saying shared, you're talking about using such what would be the sidewalk for bicycles and pedestrians. Also, it would be wider.
It'd be wider than 5.
Got it. Actually, I honestly, I think that's a better solution all around. Because even in the incorporated part of Chapel Hill, no one's using the bike lanes. They're actually up on the sidewalk, whether it's with scooters, bicycles, or whatever. And I think a 10-foot path might be a little bit safer, or people would use it. Whether it's safe or not, I don't know, you can argue.
Feedback that we heard pretty briefly, which is why we did upgrade all NC86 was be upgraded based on input and just got so many comments about how unsafe people feel, not even people don't bike or walk, but even just drive normal NC86, which I drive down pretty good myself. So that's why we upgraded that into the shared package. So
And I think Irwin Road, I don't know if that's gonna be a bike lane on the road, but that whole area is just a mess. I mean, I think it could actually benefit from some turning lanes as well, because that traffic backs up, and as soon as it frees up, people just like pedal to the metal. So I don't know what the thought is, if there's any opportunity to add some turning lanes at strategic points or
something.
yeah, because when I look at that, it's like putting bike lanes there, that's already an unsafe road. Oh, people are gonna bike on it anyways, but it's just a really bad area. I think.
Badly overloaded.
Can you clarify, this is a silly question, US 70 and US 70, I've always heard US 70 business and US 70 bypass, so I don't know what US 70 alt is.
So it's showing on the map, it is showing. Where's it go?
Well, you could add renewal 70 onto that question.
Yeah.
That's what I call it.
If you'll go back a slide, Darlene. So I'll show you,
All the official name is.
forward one more,
People.
so this one, that one, yes, okay. So what it's showing here is US 70 alt is, what it's showing as busy project right up here. And then the other US 70, this project is this one over here.
The question was, is all the same as,
Yes.
that was the question.
Oh, I thought you needed to know which one was on the
I
map.
just didn't know which road was, so alt is the same as business and 70. US 70.
That is
the regular.
the way I'm understanding it.
There's just a disconnect between the official names that people use.
So those are the real names probably.
We can clear that up when we make some revisions, because we're gonna be doing tweaks based on your feedback, so that's a very helpful thing to clarify.
Where could we find Appendix A, which I see mentioned on the document? And I assume that's where the concept designs for each project is listed? Is that how it's done?
Yes, that's perfect. So the plan is still in draft format, so we have not yet assembled all the appendix. We have all the material ready to go and put together,
Okay.
but as far as having it assembled, ready to be sent out, it's not to that point yet.
And that'll show the different concept design for each proposal? Is that the idea?
Each of these 10 projects will have a 10% concept design.
So just these,
Yeah, speaking of draft, it seems like the document we were mailed, the one we got tonight in our packet, have changed significantly.
The one that you have in your packet in front of you are the same as the slides that she had.
You have more slides than this. The next slides are discussion slides.
Different than like that.
Can I ask how this is integrated with the town of Hillsborough? And are they also doing a similar bicycle and ped plan that would feed into this as part of the Hillsborough incorporation?
So this plan specifically looked at only the unincorporated areas of Hillsborough of Orange County, but we did, I mentioned earlier in the engagement slides, we did have several stakeholder meetings, focus groups, and Hillsborough was included on those, as well as a project stakeholder committee that Hillsborough also had representative on to help us along the way to ensure that facilities that we're recommending are do connect to facilities that they have in town and facilities that they have planned as well. Because we do want everything to be integral and we don't want to don't leave gaps. As you can see, a lot of the projects ended up being around Hillsborough and then some around Temple Carver as well. One of the main things that we learned in the focus group for the cause of a lot of projects coming around Hillsborough is that there's a lot more gaps around Hillsborough because there's a lot, it just is growing a little bit later than Chapel El Carro kind of grew out quicker and they don't have as many gaps. There are certainly still gaps around the outskirts of Chapel El Carro, but there were more gaps around Hillsborough. And that's why a lot of the priority projects came out on the outskirts of Hillsborough. So we have coordinated with them pretty extensively, but we're not involved in any recommendations or a plan that's going on currently in Hillsborough.
So then, for example, if you're looking at the 70, I'm sorry, the old 80, either the old 86 or the NC 86, any proposal there would stop at the city limits because they wouldn't have done, or it wouldn't be integrated into that because, of course, there's not much space on Churton Street or around there anymore. But I'm thinking of that proposal that the NCDOT had made a number of years ago to try to address the Orange Grove Road South Churton Street activity, and I know that's kind of not going anywhere, but I just think it's important that as we move forward, that we have somewhere in this document that there are limits to these because they are not necessarily connecting to bike and ped lanes within Hillsborough.
That is something that we talked pretty extensively with the town and Hillsborough staff. I know that there's been a corridor study that was done on Churton Street, and I think the recommendation that came out of there was a shared use path along Churton Street. So that would connect to the shared use path that's recommended in this plan. And even if they did end up going with something else, it would be be a transition from a shared use path to a bike lane, but that would be on the town of Hillsborough to ensure that they're connecting as well. And the coordination is would be important between the county planning staff and the Hillsborough planning staff. So
I had a question. I'm trying to understand the 10 projects here that we have the concept designs for. Why have we chosen those 10? Are they like the top priorities or, and I also was trying to figure out how old 86 fit into that.
that was something that we were given direction on, by the last client manager.
But
The Orange County.
why those 10? Are they prioritized? Is that what you're
So
saying?
we have a prioritized list of 20 projects. So the 8 of those 10 projects are within the top 20 and then 2 are out of the top 20. But we did not get to choose the concept developments. We were told which ones to move forward with.
And what happens with the other 10?
They are just in the appendix, in a list.
So the fact that these have concept designs would make me think that these are going to be the top 10 priorities.
So the priorities haven't been set yet. We're getting your feedback on those tonight, but these 10 were kind of picked as a sampling of the 20. Is my understanding. Now Nish picked them before he left. So we're having to kind of figure some of those parts out, but we are still getting your feedback on these 10 and we'll take that feedback into account as we figure out the whole prioritization, right?
But we can't look at the other.
Yeah, we have the full list in here.
Yeah, having the appendix A, having the full list would be really useful.
We'll get that to you.
So if I understand it correctly, 8 of these 10 should be these in this best bets according to the issue. Like, what's driving the 8?
Yes.
Is that table 4-G? Is that what we're talking about? I think it's on a slide before this. Is that the list? Is that the list?
That looks right.
Oh, no, there's another one. Go back, if you go back up, maybe this is the list. I have something that says concept designs, table 4-G, summary of concept design projects, figure 4J.
I think that's the list.
I get your mail that way.
Okay, I think that works. Okay, that's fine. So these are the ones that you guys picked or Niche picked, or I'm not quite sure I understand.
And our advanced to concept developments for 10 that Nish picked as a sampling.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I couldn't quite hear you.
Yes, the 10 projects that were advanced to concept development were ones that Nish picked as a sampling.
Okay, so the ones we're looking at right here are those projects.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Have
John, you
y'all-
had a question?
Yeah, have y'all done the 10% for these 10 different projects?
Yes.
Okay. If the work's already been done, I think I'll just say makes sense to utilize that work. It'd be better to have more input on what that list would be, but if those 10% designs already exist.
That's kind of why we've stuck with them, Josh.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Thank you.
So I guess based off of that, what are we really being asked to input on? Because if the list is kind of fixed,
Well, it's a list, but it's still not prioritized yet. So that's still where there's a good opportunity to provide input is which ones do you think should move ahead or be prioritized more or differently? Or which types of the designs from the samples on the next slide do you think might make sense at some places more than others, those types of things.
that back, what would help on the data side? So obviously there's some around schools, so I mean, maybe it's a table that just has, this is school or route to school. And then the other is like the volume, like how many cars, and then what do we think the usage for pedestrians or bikes would be on it? Because really, it's kind of like in a vacuum. Like for me, my perception on Irwin Road is a zoo. It's crazy. I don't know how many people are actually using bikes. I live close enough that I could probably walk on the sidewalk if there was connecting sidewalks to get to that area. But I just don't know enough about the data about how
How
we
hard to
use
use
it.
what the matrix was that was used to pick these.
Yeah,
Or the criteria. I mean, how can we pick these projects if we don't know what you were just saying? Those are the criteria that either we would develop or somewhere they're there, or maybe something that came out of all the public hearings. I don't know where the criteria are, that we would look at to make a selection, to select, to prioritize. And does cost come into it at all or not?
Yes, we do have cost estimates for these as well.
That'd be part of prioritizing too.
Quite nice to see all the criteria that was used.
There's a thing on the page that says key themes. It doesn't have a number, but it says connectivity to everyday destination is the key, or is very important. And I wonder how much that factored in.
Yeah, I mean, there were three major things they were going after, and it's
Safety.
like destination, number of cars per day, connections, proximity of schools. I mean, there are a lot in cost and where right, how much right away is it? I mean, all those things probably were used, but I have no idea and what they used. There's no way for me to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I take it from this table of content that there's like a much
Something
larger
has that.
version of this that has all the information we
So
need.
we'll get out the appendix A to you all. Tomorrow, I think we have that ready.
Yeah.
Oh,
Appendix
Mr.
A.
Chair, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Sherry,
would there be some value in having a work session on this either with a smaller group or anybody who wants to participate, where we could actually drill down in this a little bit and understand the priorities and look at these things? If we really want to do that, I think it seems like it would, rather than have some materials sent to us, maybe it's just the way I've worked before on committees and boards, where you would have a work session to kind of get through this.
So we did have, I think, two prioritization working groups with a group of people. I was not included in those. You were.
Is anybody from here included?
I'm not sure.
I was out of town, unfortunately, but it was the town of Hillsborough had representatives, Chapel, Harborough, Orange County, Michigan, part of those. There's a lot of staff.
Basically, none of us.
Not that.
Is that referring to the technical coordinating committee?
No, so we have a more technical team, and then and I don't know, Josh, if you're a part of it, in July, they had the prioritization working groups.
Okay. I know I was in core technical team in April. I don't think I was part of that July group.
Yeah, that was separate.
But that group just came up with this list, correct? And now we're being asked to prioritize it. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm mishearing. I'm sorry.
I read the agenda. This is the information and feedback session. And before we took any final action on this, I would need to see the whole 118 pages,
Right.
not just the summary.
So,
Thank you.
so for tonight, this is showing you some of the concepts, some of the things that are in the priorities so far, but we're going to get you more information about things, and we can certainly bring it back if we need to, and answer some questions via email as well on specific.
Right.
it's certainly simplified. Like, I don't need to see like the 300-page study, but just like some of the data that everybody's been asking about, we can just add it to that. And then maybe what the recommendation is for the layout, and then we can kind of give some input, because right now I feel like we have some data, but
It's too narrow.
it's too narrow. Just a little bit more,
Yeah.
like, don't make it.
We'll look and see
Or
what's
these.
already put into that appendix and see what that looks like, if that would
Simple
meet
is
what
good.
you're talking about.
It would really help to have the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoom in on those maps.
I think I heard somebody say earlier, like, what is the destination things groups are taking people to? Is it like travel to work or is it to a Walmart? What is that,
parks. Medical facilities, stuff like that.
That would come with better
Park
maps.
Yeah, I suspect that's what we see if we see the entire report instead of just a description of.
So we'll get that to you and we will get some more information with that. This isn't even the big part where we were gonna get a lot of discussion, so if you guys don't mind, I would like to move us ahead a little bit if we can. I don't want to cut off getting feedback, but there's more to come that we want to talk about. Would that be okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will admit this is not my bread and butter being somebody who else, first information will be on a later slide. Katie Shoppenberg, she's fantastic. She's gonna plan to be at, the board meeting when we present for them this information. But I'll do my best and you may all have, good input and teach me a little bit about this stuff, but I'm really more of a data person myself. So, I want to kind of get your temperature on some of the best ways to get some of these recommendations implemented. So this first one is aligning the UDO with current and future planning efforts. This would mean updating the UDO regularly to reflect adopted plans to ensure consistency and eliminate gaps. This would require developers to provide on-site bike ped and trail facilities to connect the network out. This is something that you all would be in favor of seeing in the plan as far as the implementation.
We have it.
We do have the UDO. It's, they're starting on some updates to it are underway right now. So they're just kicked that off.
What's an EDO?
It's not.
When I first joined this.
It's not.
BD, UDO. Didn't even play it, my BD play.
Y'all have all memorized these, right?
So the question is, what was the question that we're supposed to answer?
But we're just trying to gauge the temperature of how you think Orange County and you all would be in favor of these things being recommended in the implementation chapter to get these recommendations built.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that would make sense?
Also, cross-section would be tying development approvals to a standard set of context-sensitive street cross-sections that reflect the county's goals. So basically, the plan or the county should come up with cross-sections that they want to see implemented, whether it's the shared use, separated shared use, 10-foot shared use path, or bike lanes with sidewalks, or just a shoulder, things like that. Just a standard set, so then developers can go in and kind of pick amongst those and have everything be consistent across the county. Does that make sense? This one's a little bit more urban, but it was an example that we could find in North Carolina that shows an example of cross sections that developers can kind of pick and choose from when they're building.
I think it makes sense. I guess I don't know if it applies to every street. Would it apply to every street or would it just apply to the streets identified in the plan?
Not entirely sure what.
Okay.
I think that's a good point for discussion, right?
Yeah, I know that what I feel like has worked in the context of development and getting facilities has been including the bike and pedestrian plan in the comprehensive plan, and then any improvements associated with the bike and ped plan kind of need to be there for the plan to be consistent with the comprehensive plan, which is something that the governing body is often looking for in the development phase. I think cross sections might be useful, but they would apply universally, which might be particularly harsh for some more rural development that isn't in the county's focus areas and might be a bit more burdened by doing those cross sections.
Talk to that, Johnny.
I'm thinking about the old 86 right now. I just was been up and down there several times in the past couple of days, and there's a whole bunch of new development where they're just tearing down all the trees. You know, they're putting out parking lots. No, you know what I mean? Putting out new development. And it's interesting because some of them actually have already put in, I don't know if they're bikeways or sidewalks that are set back from the road. And I don't know if if that is actually something that's criteria for the developers, or whether these are nice guy developers or they're trying to do that or not. Do you know, Josh?
I think that's a good example. Carborough has put their bike and pedestrian plan in the comprehensive plan. I think this development that you might be referring to, it's a little south of Hogan Hills, which is in Carborough's plan and jurisdiction. And Carborough, when doing the approval, would have noted whether the bike and pedestrian facilities are there or not, in deciding whether to approve the development.
But I think I was thinking about the consistency, about whether how we can this if that's part of our role to kind of determine some kind of not universal but just standardized way to address this that may not be there already, and it may already be in there somewhere. And that way you do have consistency across the county, as opposed to one developer doing it this way, somebody else doing it another way. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
in our, it's on our, if that's in our responsibility or not. I don't know.
I think what making this discussion difficult is we're looking at very urban examples where we're talking about planning for a rural area. When Sherry says NC 86, I'd like to see these examples coming on something that resembles NC 86 in downtown Charlotte or downtown Fairfax, Virginia.
This would be an example of what the cross section would look like, what we'd be recommending that you put in a plan, or just have, generic cross sections like this for developers to choose from. Would these look something more like this, for the rural setting?
But I think that's really good feedback, Art, that the example pictures that we're using being more rural would be helpful.
Yeah, and you get the impression, does this look like something we want? Looks like downtown Charlotte.
I think we get that.
Yeah, I think the question of how we get kind of developers to stick to what we want, I think my suggested approach would be to put the type of facility that we want in the plan and then have the plan adopted as part of the county's comprehensive plan. I think that'll give clear guidance on what needs to go on what streets and keep a consistent treatment. It also let us treat roads like Old 86 with the types of facilities we might be looking for. And a developer maybe off of 57, where I don't think we have as much identified, might not have to deal with the same street cross sections.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
So this one, the site plan should clearly show how proposed development fits with the broader walking and bike network. So this would include a map of existing planned facilities and identifying nearby multimodal destinations. This is developers to show how their development fits in with, let's say, this bike plan, and so that they ensure that, like you said, those developments that are going in off Old 86 tie in with the bike ped plan, and whether it's Carborough or Orange County, this gets implemented eventually. Making sure that that developer, what they're popping in on your network, is consistent with what's being built on the road around it.
Seems like one way to make sure that happens is to just make sure they implement the complete streets policy. Which already exists on the state level.
So those private roads won't be NCDOT owned and operated once you get into development, but the ones, if they're impacting any of the road off the road, yes. Developers, they should be required to submit all their files GIS and CAD showing the final alignments, and then those can be incorporated into Orange County's database. And can then, whether it's they're going in and building something and then there's kind of gaps on either side or gap on one side, and that's noted and then can be used in whether it's prioritization going forward to look at where the gap sidewalk ends. Or just for maintenance purposes, things like that.
So another thing that, if somebody's doing a development, and this is part of it, like you were saying, some of the roads are not public roads and stuff. I would love to see bike parking be part of the parking plan,
Yeah.
which it never is. It's always sort of an afterthought. Like,
For the developers.
For the developers, yeah.
Any good with you so far?
Do you have any more questions about the GIS and CAD submittals?
They already submitted at one point.
At what point and where would they be submitted?
It says your final, the final alignments, that way you don't have, things that aren't actually gonna be built, and then you don't have mismatched data and incorrect. But be final submittals.
Presumably with a lot of discussion beforehand.
This one we kind of already talked about a few slides ago, but the comp plan updates as the network evolves. So as new facilities are built or permitted, the comprehensive land use plan to be reviewed and updated. I've already talked about that, so like everybody's on board with that. The option sounds like you maybe kind of a comp plan.
Not necessarily involved in the Orange County plan. I think it just presents a good opportunity given that the comp plan is still yet to be adopted.
Any questions or comments on this one? Continuing to evaluate and implementing the plans and policies. So Orange County already has a strong foundation of adopted plans that support biking and walking, such as the Orange County Transportation Multi-Modal Plan, which is really what this plan was derived from. The Orange County Trails Plan that we mentioned is running in concurrence with this one. Triangle West did the Vision Zero Action Plan. You guys have a Safe Routes to School plan and transit plan. So you already have a really strong plan, so making sure that those plans are continued to be looked at. So a couple of recommendations that we have is adding consistency checkbox to internal review forms. And when conflicts arise, a short policy resolution memo to adjust maps or UDO accordingly. Any questions, comments on that one? This is where we anticipated we would have the priority project discussion, so we already kind of hashed this out. And then the last slide is just this typologies. That's what we've got. If you want to go back to anything.
Is there any other feedback that would be useful for you from us to know?
Or is there anything else that you wanted to gather this thing?
No, I think this has all been really helpful feedback, and we'll get that appendix to you. This typologies chart kind of is one of the guides for when we're looking at those projects and figuring out which ones are the best bets, if they're calling them the most likely to be successful, which is, they're going to be strong candidates to get funding from partners and be very feasible for us to implement, and at the same time have a significant impact. So those are kind of the best bet project. And those are all the criteria that we're looking for as the ones that we set as the highest priority. So if that's helpful information to keep in mind as you're thinking about those, when you get them, we can include that again.
Look forward to getting further information and seeing the full report and continuing this discussion. Thanks for being with us, Kate.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The last item we have is the free fare fixed route transportation services. And has this already gone through BOPC?
This has not gone to commissioners yet. This is tentatively scheduled to go to county commissioners in December. So you all are getting a preview of it, an opportunity to provide feedback. We'd love to hear any feedback that you have before it goes to commissioners. But this is a draft. We just gave you the exact draft of what we've got so far for them. And Darlene is pulling that up for you. But this is a pretty quick summary. So we're looking at the possibility of going to fare free on all of our fixed route services. That's the 4 fixed routes that we run every day. And you can go to the next slide, Darlene. So the 4 services, the orange and blue loops in Hillsborough are currently free. The Hill to Hill and Orange Alamance are currently $1 for folks that are elderly or disabled and $2 for all other riders. They're very low fare already. Go to the next slide. And going fare free would save us some time and some money as we're operating the buses every day. It's going to simplify the boarding process. There's less of a delay as people are boarding, taking the time to swipe their cards and do all those things. There's no need to qualify riders for those reduced fares. That would save us some staff time on getting that paperwork done with all those folks that might or might not qualify. And then would also eliminate those collection of equipment that we have to replace every several years, which is expensive and takes the vehicles out of service to do. So there's always the juggling that happens with those types of things. So there would be several advantages to doing this other than just saving our patrons money, and hopefully that would encourage more people to ride the bus as well. So the next slide, here's what the numbers look like. So this is about what we're spending is about $2,000 a month on the monthly fee. Plus we've got an operating contract, it's a 5-year contract, and the equipment upgrade every few years. And then we're showing what the user fees are. So the numbers make sense for us to do this, as well as we think there's a lot of operational advantages and just benefit to the community. Really think that it'll be easier for people to ride the bus and that they will enjoy the experience. And we think that it'll encourage some folks that are not currently riding to take the bus if it's something they don't have to be thinking about or really worrying about as they consider transportation if the bus is available to them. And so we know that change as we add more riders, we are in the process of continually evaluating our routes. And so we know that could make some shifts happen. So we'll be cautious to continue monitoring the routes and if we need to add more stops and things of that nature as our ridership might change. So any questions about that?
Seems to make sense along every way you look at it, including that for people being used to free buses in Chapel Hill and Carver. And it's odd to not have free buses elsewhere.
Seniors are free on that, right?
I think that is good. Yeah, I just don't understand the operating. Is that the labor that's used to qualify the rider? Is that what we're saying with the operating?
The operating, you have a 5-year contract plus a monthly fee.
That's gonna stay there regardless.
No, those go away. Those are just for the software.
Oh, well, that's just.
That's just our software and hardware costs.
Collect the 10, less than 10,000.
So is any of that, we have to pay anything in order for people to find out where the bus is using something like, or whatever it is?
The GPS systems that track it and everything.
The apps that you can.
Yeah, so we are in the process of routing a contract right now that will change the software that we use for dispatching our buses, and that connects to the onboard Wi-Fi system, and that's how that data about where the bus is gets out. So when we finish that upgrade and we'll start rolling that out in hopefully January, February timeframe, then we will get better real-time data to the apps and everything as well. So that will be happening separate from this. It's a separate software package for us. But good question, because that's very important.
Excuse me, is that like the next bus? In other words, in DC, when you had a next bus app. So you were on the L2 and you were standing there waiting for the bus and it would tell you how long it would take for that bus to get there. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and the app that we're looking at using is one that several other agencies in the area use. So we're looking at a couple options right now, but determining which one we're going to feed the data out. And so that'll be happening with that software update.
So what is the net fiscal impact? In other words, if I were an Orange County commissioner and I said, well, this sounds really great and I love to do this. But what is the net cost to the county for no longer getting fees?
We will come out ahead because the equipment and the operating costs for the equipment and the software is more than what we are currently getting in fees.
These aren't even covering just the operating cost.
Okay, so it's basically a loss. I mean, I'm just trying to think like a commissioner. So right now, this whole system is kind of a loss. We're doing it because we should do it because it's a safety, it's a customer, all those kinds of things. I just think they'll probably want to know you might just have it ready. You may not have to put it up there, but you might want to have it ready.
Yeah, it's saving us money and it's on the net positive impact slide.
So
I don't think it's that clear though, to be honest.
we can make some revisions.
Yeah,
and make it more clear.
But something that says, this is what we'll be
Yeah.
saving.
We'll make some
Current
total.
cost that we're paying that we won't have to pay anymore. Would be
Yeah.
like really clear, because I think that's what this is, but it's just not that.
Right.
Right.
For you.
When does the 5-year contract end? Because that's the other part that, to me, is like, are we 2 years into it? Are we at the 4th year?
We have to give notice on that, but we'll make time, we're doing that as part of the math
So
on
if we
that.
give notice, like, how long are we on the commitment for? Because to me, if I were looking at it from a break even, I would say whenever we end that contract, then the fee gets waived at that point. Otherwise, if I take the 2150 monthly fee times 12 months, it's a pretty big cost and definitely we're losing money.
Where we are now is that we are overdue to do this. So by not doing that, that's helping us to come out ahead.
I mean, it's good, yeah, I think it's
Are
good.
we obligated, if we still have 4 years on the contract, are we still obligated for 11,160 times 4?
We've got less than a year on it.
That's what he was
Yeah,
trying to get.
Okay.
Is my mental math, tell me if my mental math is right. We're spending like $36,000 a year. So I think that goes to what
Right.
Jenny was saying.
Yes,
Spending 36,000 a year, recovered 10,000, there's a net loss to the
Right.
county of 26.
So we
That
can-
will go away.
we can
Right.
go away.
So that's your savings.
Yeah, I
Right.
would just do a net on that. That way it's a very simple, like, it didn't jump out, to be
And
honest.
avoiding the capital investment of $30,000 that's overdue already.
Yes,
And there's
we
obviously
can
that
make that more
labor.
clear.
Pretty compelling.
We think it's great. We just want them to see it really fast.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But there is
Absolutely.
one other cost that's not on here, and that is, because I'm gonna be bugging this continually, marketing. I'm sure that if we do this, we need to tell people and we need to have materials and we need to get people on the radio and we need to do this, that is a cost, but it may just be a cost of whoever's doing that now would need to be planning to do that, because if we are not going to be charging people, we need to tell people that. We need to have brochure or posters up at Passmore and Seymour and, that kind of thing. And I think
So-
there is a cost there.
We are working with the Community Engagement Office on outreach and education campaign about that. And we are updating the brochures that are at the facilities, doing those things. And what we've talked to the budget office about doing is still keeping the money in for at least a month or two of what that would cost us so that we can use that towards advertising the change.
Great. That's
As
really
part of the
great.
cleanup on that.
Thank you.
The buses, on the very front of the bus above the windshield, there's a lit up,
Yes,
it says Orange County or something. Are those programmable?
they are programmable.
Free bus?
They're free. Don't put free bus.
Well, thank
That's
you. That
really
was good
good.
feedback.
That's a great idea. Because people will see that, yeah.
Our buses are free, whatever.
Do we have any questions about the MPO, RRO, and NCDOT project listings? Anything y'all want to point out to?
I want to say one thing. I'm Sherry. I did see your 2 questions that you asked, and so I will continue to ask them about that. I'm gonna reach out to a different person. I've tried twice. I'll keep trying because I know that was important to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Susan, when do you expect the, bike ped plan to go to the county?
So we'll be taking the feedback from you all, and we're meeting with some of the planning staff again and some of the environment and natural resources, the deeper staff again, to get some more feedback as well. So we're anticipating getting that to commissioners in likely January, possibly February.
And we can get to see the whole plan before then.
Yeah, we'll get that on your agenda for January.
Did you need a motion from us for that document we have in here, or is that for December? The
Yeah,
action.
It was just for information.
Nothing to vote
Oh,
on.
okay, thank you.
Okay, Heidi?
I just have one announcement in case anybody's interested. The Triangle West, the Triangle West Transportation Planning Organization, TWTPO, is having a safety summit, regional safety summit at the Chapel Hill Public Library on Thursday, 9 to 2. You can sign up online. I don't have the link, but you have the link.
I do. I send it out. I'll see you there.
Okay, I'll see you there.
That's not late. Anything else for the good of the order? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Heidi.
Heidi moves to adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.